And they said, Candace, something very weird is happening. The Daily Wire has sent somebody secretly to record you, an intern, a PR intern, to secretly record you, to catch you in a bad moment, in a bad light. And I think that intern's name, no, to be fair, it is never the fault of a person when their employer is sending them to do something that isn't good, but I would really love it if Ariana stood up.
Answer that. What was that set up with you and how it had to be?
So he's like, let me show you around the studio. So he's involved in all kinds of shit. He owns social media companies and all this other stuff. Howie Mandel owns a lot of shit that people don't realize. Smart guy, great guy. So we're walking through and stuff. He goes, would you do me a favor?
That's great.
And I said, yeah, what's up? And he's like, would you come in and get up and walk off my podcast?
That's great.
I go, I would be fucking honored to walk off your podcast. We go in there and do it, right? And he's like,
awesome.
Take this to the grave. I said, done. I'll take it to the grave. Right?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's episode of the Dream Rare Podcast. I have two stories I want to talk about. The first one is Candace Owens responded to a clip of herself on Twitter or X where Censored Man, his name was, he said, you know, the Daily Wire sent somebody to spy on Candace Owens, and she had this little speech. I'm going to play it in a second, where she says that they sent an intern to secretly record her to try to make her look bad. So we're going to look at that and ask ourselves the question, is there anything wrong with sending someone to a public event where people are speaking publicly to record them? And also, we're going to look into more of that Daily Wire stuff because it's been a little odd ever since she left, and there's some interesting parts about it that I want to talk about. Second story I want to talk about is Dana White admitted on Andrew Schultz's podcast that he staged the Howie Mandel freak out. It went viral on all social media where people are like, oh, he's tired of podcasts. Wow, he just freaked out and left Howie Mandel. And he was supposed to never tell anybody. So we're going to watch that clip. And I wanted to say before the show starts, give a thumbs up in the chat, give a thumbs up for the algorithm on the video. But I wanted to talk about these two stories, not to be gossipy, but I think they're microcosms of something bigger going on. And anytime I cover news reports like this about stuff that people may perceive as not important, there's always a bigger picture of why I'm covering it and why I think it's important. And also, I think that sometimes people in politics cover stories that seem important and seem political, but they're just running in circles for 10 years straight. So, you know, I want to kind of weave in here, not just the story, but why I think both of them are important and why I'm sharing them to you. God bless you guys. Dream Rare Podcast starts now. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you.
It's the Dream Rare Podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles. Yeah.
What's going on, folks? Ryan Patterson said, do you ever get tired of being a talking head? Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely do. But I think everyone gets tired of their job, so I'm not going to play the victim. Mary said, I usually watch you on YouTube, but you seem to interact with Facebook more. I don't know that that's necessarily true. On the videos, I seem to see both of them as much, but I post more on Facebook because there's more to do. Like YouTube, you go live and then it's over. Facebook, I just post memes all the time because they now incentivize us to post memes, and it's not a bad life. I'd rather laugh than cry, as they say. So is what it is. All right, let's get into the first story because I got all angles of this story and I did a pretty thorough job of reporting it to tell you all the angles of it before I tell you what I think. So here's the clip that went viral. I saw a guy that I follow on Twitter. His name is Censored Man. It's like an anonymous account of some sort. But the headline was something along the lines of like Daily Wire sent an intern to spy on Candace. I watched the clip and then I saw Candace respond to the post and also respond to Nicholas J. Fuentes, who commented something. And then I saw a journalist who I like a lot, Cassandra Fairbanks, I think she changed her name to her husband's name, McDonald, reported that Daily Wire fired somebody after they checked their public emails or their public email account, not their work email account. I don't know the name of it, if it would be private or public, but whatever. Let's just get into the whole story and I'll explain myself as I go along because I got a bunch of different angles to this. So here's the first thing I saw. Candace at some sort of female TPUSA event, like Women's Summit or something, saying, show yourself, PR, secret recorder. I know you're here to make me look bad.
You guys, the last thing that I am going to say, strangely, this is such a crazy story, but as I was headed in here, I got a frantic call from somebody. They did. They called me and they said, Candace, something very weird is happening. The Daily Wire has sent somebody secretly to record you, an intern, a PR intern, to secretly record you, to catch you in a bad moment, in a bad light. And I think that intern's name, no, to be fair, it is never the fault of a person when their employer is sending them to do something that isn't good, but I would really love it if Ariana stood up. Yeah. Okay, maybe that's a little too intimidating for you too, but apparently she got an email at 10 p.m., hopped on a plane, is pretending to be a student. And so I do just want to say to Ben Shapiro, enough. Come out into the light. Really, come on. Let's do this debate. Stop sending interns to do your dirty work. I don't bite. I'm down for the debate. Charlie Kirk says he will fly you out. He will fly you out next week to Detroit, and we can do the debate on his stage. Thank you, Turning Point USA. Let's take some questions.
All right, so she claims that Daily Wire sent a PR intern to basically go there and secretly record her and make her look bad. Just to tell you both angles of the story, I would say people that like Candace Owens are saying, that's creepy. Why are they doing that? It's getting a little annoying and weird. People that don't like Candace Owens seem to be saying it's not a spy. It's not it's not like a secret recording. It's a public event. Anybody could send anybody, and that's not really a big deal if they're doing that. Here's what I want to say before I tell you my opinion about all this. I want to play this clip of 4 different clips I chopped up because I don't want to get copyright stricken from Glenn Greenwald, who's, in my opinion, one of the more credible journalists in the world. I find him very honest. We don't always have the same political views, but I think he's what a journalist actually is. So I do tend to believe and trust him when I see this stuff. And, I'm sure Daily Wire would do something about it if it weren't true. But anyway, here's Glenn Greenwald. A few months ago, I covered it, but I want you to listen to what he says. Publicly, Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro, they're like, yeah, let's debate Candace Owens. But while they were doing that privately, they were putting a gag order on her and saying that the way that she asked for the debate and the fact that she was liking certain things on X or Twitter, liking certain posts, that means she's violating her order with the Daily Wire. So publicly, they're telling you, no, we want to debate Candace Owens. And then privately, they're putting a gag order on her. It's pretty scummy, in my opinion. And if they send an intern, it's just another move, whether it's a public event or not. It's just like, if you really mean what you say, if you really think you're so much smarter than Candace Owens, and a lot of us that, we know that you don't like what we say because we criticize the foreign policy that you push in America or whatever, just do the debate. But these are the games that allegedly, reportedly, they've been playing along the last couple months ever since she's parted ways with Daily Wire.
Now, after Candace Owens left the Daily Wire, a lot of people were encouraged by the fact that she wanted to debate these issues with Ben Shapiro. And obviously having 2 major figures in American conservatism with gigantic audiences debating whether or not support for Israel, its war in Gaza, finance against war, finance against military, calling everybody who questions it anti-Semitic, is or is not compatible with conservative values and right-wing dogma. That would have been a great debate to have.
Right. Before we play the other clips that are supposed to be aligned, but I chopped them up. This is what people like Ben Shapiro do. I don't know if I follow him on Twitter. It's a little hard for me. He's a little annoying, but I do see what he says sometimes, and he'll accuse people of blood libel, anti-Semitism. Like if you even suggest that Israel did something purposely, like you have to act like they're the most moral military country of all time and they've never done anything wrong or whatever. It's like you be critical of America, but if you ever say anything to them, it's like, oh my gosh. But like he'll say blood libel, he'll say anti-Semitism. So what Glenn Greenwald is saying, that's fine that you feel that way, but now you have a high-profile debate of somebody that disagrees with you. Like, are you willing to debate? Because you're willing to call people anti-Semitic probably 100 times a year. You're willing to say someone's committing blood libel when they talk about foreign militaries. So can you actually like debate somebody that's not a 19 50-year-old blue-haired liberal or some like, hand-picked Christian Zionist that agrees with you. Like, can you debate Candace Owens? Let's continue.
And the Daily Wire said that they also thought it was a great debate to have, which is why they originally accepted Candace Owens' offer. And they proceeded to negotiate over days this debate that everyone said that they wanted. What nobody knew, though, and what we were able to report in this article that we published on Locals this morning, was that exactly immediately after Candace Owens went to Twitter and said, I'd like to have a debate with Ben Shapiro about Israel, the Daily Wire ran into an arbitration proceeding.
So I'm going to play another clip, but it's like, yeah, we'll debate. And then behind the scenes, it's like, no, she's violating some sort of contract that we had. Let's watch.
And requested that an arbitrator put a gag order on Candace Owens and order her blocked, banned from criticizing the Daily Wire or Ben Shapiro in any way. And none of this was disclosed by the Daily Wire. They had led their audience to believe that they actually wanted a debate with Candace Owens. And yet at the same time, in secret, they were arguing to the arbitrator that the way in which Candace Owens asked for this debate, the expressions of criticism she had voiced about Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, and that's the odd part. Like, if you want a debater, debater. If you don't want a debater, don't debater. But that's the thing that Glenn is talking about, that a lot of people have realized, that if you're going to do it publicly and say, yeah, we're down, but then behind the scenes be like, yeah, that even asking and liking tweets violates the order. So let's put a gag order on her. And you'll see here that was allegedly due to the reporting Glenn Greenwald. That was part of it. It was like, oh, she liked certain posts. Remember when the NASCAR guy liked a George Floyd joke and then they like suspended him or whatever? Like, that's the level. We always make fun of the left for doing that, or whoever, like these sports leagues. It's like, listen, you might say a messed up joke. You might have a messed up opinion. I don't have to like it. I don't care if it's left wing, right wing, black, white, but someone's going to get suspended from a sports league for liking a meme. Like, that's kind of crazy, right? That's only on the left though, right? It's not. Apparently not. Let's look.
The fact that she had liked multiple tweets that were criticizing Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire meant that Candace Owens, by negotiating and asking for this debate, had in fact engaged in disparagement of the Daily Wire in a way that violated her contract, and they therefore convinced an arbitrator in secret that they were likely to win if they sued Candace Owens for breach of contract, and the only remedy possible would be to gag Candace Owens from talking about the Daily Wire or Ben Shapiro in any way critically.
So, I mean, that's all very bizarre to me. Someone said in the comments on Facebook, they said, I'd rather them debate you, Anomaly, than Candace or some of these other characters. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm always down to debate. I mean, there's tweets that I've had since 2019 where I said I would love to debate Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro on anti-Semitism and all these things that they're doing. Nobody wants to debate me. That's okay. You know, they could have the reasons, but what I personally think is, well, maybe I'll wait for what I personally think in a second, because I do want to just get through this reporting. So the video, this is the new one. I'm just going to play 5 seconds of it, and then I'm going to show you what Candace said.
You guys, the last thing that I am going to say, strangely, this is such a crazy story, but as I was headed in here, I got a frantic call from somebody. They did. They called me and they said, Candace, something very weird is happening. The Daily Wire has sent somebody secretly to record you.
Okay, so she said that, right? Someone posted it on X, and this is what she responded to the guy who posted it. I'm going to read her exact tweet. Candace wrote when he posted it, she said, "This is an absolute fact. I have all the proof. The young woman was called at 10 p.m. the night before by a woman in PR named Gloria and told she would be put on a plane the following morning to secretly record me. Then Alyssa told her not to tell a single soul that she was being sent. They purchased her a student ticket to secretly record me. The behavior has grown increasingly erratic. Under no circumstances is this normal or even remotely defensible." So she reached out to the guy who posted this and said, yeah, I'm not lying. This is a fact. Here's another comment that she responded to, which is a enemy number one to Daily Wire and a lot of people in the conservative movement. which is this kid, I guess he's in his 20s now, Nicholas J. Fuentes, who I believe they've, blacklisted for a long time now. Here's what he said, and Candace actually responded to him, which caught a lot of attention. Nick Fuentes said, when Daily Wire tried to cancel me in 2017, they did the exact same thing. Cassie Dillon watched my show every night looking for clips to send to Media Matters for America. They sent out a girl named Emily Faulkner to secretly record me at a Leadership Institute training. This is their MO. Candace replied, my DMs are open. Do you mind sending me a good email address for you? So it looks like Candace wants to know a little bit more about that. I don't have a story specifically about Daily Wire, but I do have stories about conservative media where, similar to Candace, probably I have friends that work at every big media company. And I heard as soon as I started questioning the anti-Semitism speech laws in 2019, people started labeling me far right and telling me that I was blacklisted and being smeared behind the scenes. I thought it was pretty crazy. And this is why in 2024, those same anti-Semitism speech laws that I was talking about in 2019 that I know for a fact got me blacklisted from some media companies, not Daily Wire specifically, but I know they would never hire me because of that. Anyway, fast forward, now Charlie Kirk's talking about it. Now Ben Shapiro mentions it. Now, Crowder's all concerned or whoever. And it's like, I don't believe these people actually care because I don't think they were oblivious in 2019. I just think it boiled over and got so obvious that it's like you had to talk about it or else you looked like you were phony. But at the time, I'm not blaming any individuals or any companies in specific. I know how the Republican Party works. And, to be quite fair, it all revolves around Israel. A lot of these big organizations, they are either controlled by people who are Israel first. They take Israeli donor money. Donald Trump is about to take $100 million from a woman who wants him to do something for Israel. That's what the Republican Party is. You might agree with it. You might not. I'm not asking your opinion on Israel or the war or Palestine. I'm just telling you that is literally how Republican media works and Republican politics. And as soon as you figure it out, either you take the money and you play ball, or you get called anti-Semitic, you get smeared, you get blacklisted, and they try to make you look crazy. That's the truth. I've experienced it. Everyone pretty much knows it. I know a lot of people that aren't maybe as outspoken as myself or Candace that probably also don't have as much like security, in media. They all know this, but they don't want to say anything because they're afraid. Because, if you're living paycheck to paycheck or this is your big gig, like it's not worth it to lose your job over it. So everybody knows this. Most people know this. They just are scared. Just the same way, like if you're in left-wing media and you think Trump's not that bad, you can't tell anybody. You're going to get fired probably if you're even remotely conservative. It's the same thing in the right-wing media. That's why I don't care about politics that much anymore, because it's all fake. It's like they're all pretending to be, to fight the left when they do all the same stuff. They work with the same people. It's like literally controlled opposition. But anyway, I want to show this last thing. Cassandra Fairbanks or Cassandra McDonald is reported that Daily Wire allegedly, according to her reported, fired somebody after they went through their email when they left their email open in their desk. And then I'm going to tell you what I think before I move on to the next story. So let's just get through the reporting. Cassandra said, Daily Wire employee fired for sending supportive message to Candace Owens from his personal email account. The former employee, Sawyer Brandt, said that he had left his personal email account logged in on his work computer, and the company went through it to look for communications with Owens. I mean, that's a little over the top, in my opinion. The Gateway Pundit seems like they're super, super paranoid about anybody that likes Candace Owens, which is weird because she just worked there a couple months ago. I'm sure a lot of their staff likes Candace Owens. Anyway, let's look at his actual GoFundMe. He reached his goal of $5,000. It says, help Sawyer, fired for supporting Candace Owens. And I just want to read this paragraph from his GoFundMe. So he said, my work was pleasant and going fine until I stood up for the character of one of my friends and former superiors, Candace Owens. The Daily Wire did not like this and terminated me on Friday, May 31st without warning. I was fired for sending Candace a personal email of moral support when the Daily Wire accused her of abusing her former team. I said nothing negative about the Daily Wire in my email to her. In my meeting with HR, they notified that they were able to access my private email correspondence because although I sent the communication from my personal email address on my personal device, I accidentally left my personal email logged into one of their computers. I'm still confused as to why stating that I wasn't abused would be grounds for termination. So that's a little weird. So he claims that, and I don't know because I don't know this guy, but he claims that he sent an email of support for Candace when Daily Wire was trying to say that she was bad to work with. So he didn't smear the Daily Wire, which he worked for. He was just reaching out to a former employee when the mainstream media is going after you and saying, oh, she's so terrible to work with. I guess he says he sent moral support, like, hey, no, Candace, I'm on your side, with the Daily Wire smear or the Daily Mail smear, rather, when the Daily Mail's going after you. And then he claims that they fired him. I don't know what's going on. It's not my, company. I never worked there. I never signed any agreements with them. So, they can kiss my ass. And I'm just kidding. But, it is what it is. I'm trying to be accurate and fair with my reporting, showing all sides. But this is my personal opinion, and I'm going to state that. It seems like Candace Owens was getting super popular. She always was popular, just like Jordan Peterson. They signed her because she was super popular. And they were pretty much telling people, like, this is, conservative media. Jeremy Boring tweeted out things like, we signed Candace Owens for her opinions, not ours. And as long as she doesn't go afoul of the law, we'll keep her here. And he was leading the public to believe that, Candace was hired to be Candace. She says a lot of, I'm not going to say crazy stuff like to smear her, but she's a wild girl. She calls, people trannies, does investigations on that. She goes hard. And it seems like no one really had a problem with it until she crossed the line of Israel, which everyone knows is what drives policy in the Republican Party. You just get called anti-Semitic for accurately pointing it out. Even if you're not being critical, you're just being literally accurate. But anyway, as soon as that started happening, I think the true colors of Daily Wire came out, and then Jeremy Boring went from, we hired Candace Owens to have her opinions, and to, as long as it's not afoul of the law, it went from that to like, no, we don't, like, we want people to, I forget what he said, but he's like, I pay people. So then it's just like, if you're doing that, just say it. Say like, this is where our line is, and now we know, but we didn't know before. It's the same with the gag order thing. If you're going to gag order her behind the scenes, then just don't publicly pretend like you're trying to debate her, because that's weasel behavior. It's really pathetic and embarrassing and, suspect. But whatever. I don't know what they're doing. They run a big company. There's a lot of money coming, going. I'm sure, the Candace situation is making certain people nervous. So I get that they have to protect what's theirs, I guess. But in general, I think that Candace was getting more popular than Ben, and Daily Wire, as they've now stated, one of their main tenets of their conservatism is Zionism. So Candace was starting to question the norm. Candace was starting to, in my opinion, tell the truth. She was starting to, go after Jewish identity politics with the same veracity that she went after Black identity politics. They had no problem when she went after the George Floyd riots and, all sorts of black stuff. But as soon as she did the same thing to Jewish, but that's, everybody figures this out, like at a certain point, like even Kyrie Irving, it's like, there's a lot of people who've said a lot of things, but Kyrie shares an Amazon documentary saying Black people were the real Jews or something. And I never even watched it because I could care less. But then he got fined and suspended and had to apologize. I think he donated to one of these Jewish organizations. It's like, everyone knows it's like Black activism is cool as long as you're liberal. Once you're conservative, people get mad and Republican media will let you do it. But if you do the same thing with Black, identity politics that you do, and you do the same with Jewish, the doors start closing in your face. Like, that's just the truth. So, and then there's speech laws that get passed that say that you can't say there's any power there. It's like they do it, and then it's hate speech to say that it's like crazy stuff. It's like gaslighting times a million. But anyway, Candace was getting popular, but she didn't have the same foreign policy that everyone else or most people at Daily Wire had. In fact, people like Jordan Peterson, I mean, it's almost, I'm not saying this literally happened, but it's almost like they took his brain out and replaced it with like Ben Shapiro's brain. He has like literally no difference in the foreign policy. He interviews Netanyahu. So that's like kind of the vibe. Matt Walsh is the America First guy, but even he knows like, how to tiptoe across the line, because the second he starts saying probably what he really thinks, it's going to get a little more difficult there for him. So he's got to kind of like toe the line as well. But in general, Candace just went all for it. And then they had, in my opinion, a decision to make. Do we let Candace Owens stay here and make us look fake and make us look stupid and make us look like we're lying because she's saying the opposite of what we're saying, and her version of it's getting more popular and she's doing really good reporting and journalism and covering these topics where we're just calling everything, hey, like, it's like either you let her stay there and she gets bigger than you and everybody starts believing her over Ben, or not everybody, but most people, or you get rid of her. So, I don't know what happened. I don't know how they got rid of her, or what the situation was, or the contract, or the gag order. Like, I don't fully understand it, whether she quit or got fired. But she's out, right? They pretty much don't want her there. I mean, they stated that publicly. Andrew Klavan's crying like a fraud, like, oh, Christ is king. I mean, it can be anti-Semitic when it's a dog whistle. It's like, yeah, Andrew Klavan, who's been there for 8 years, who's boring, who has like a small audience, who's lame, like he would get embarrassed in a debate with Candace Owens. This is the annoying part. It's like they do this stuff, they gag order, and then they have some old loser like Andrew Klavan like saying stuff, and it's like, bro, Andrew Klavan, if we ever debated about this, he'd look like an idiot. Like, I would make him look like a little baby, like, that's why they have to sit there in their little studio and cry anti-Semitism and Christ is king is so hateful or whatever. It's like, it's all nonsense. They can't debate. They can't win this stuff. So what they do is very snake-like weasel tactics, where it's like, we'll talk shit about you, but if you talk shit about us, we'll claim it goes against your contract. We'll say all these things about you, but if you say this about us, we'll say it's anti-Semitism or it's blood libel. Like, it's all these really sneaky behaviors that are going on, because in a public debate, like, it doesn't look good. It's kind of like when Candace debated that one rabbi, I think his name was Rabbi Barclay. It was a fascinating debate, and my guess was like 95% of people walked away with that thinking Candace handled herself very well, and he looked very upset and off-putting with some of his like the ways he was trying to win the debate. So in general, now that this is all done, it is what it is. I think it's a giant window into what's happening in most of conservative media. It's not just this. And good luck to everybody involved. I know Candace's show starts today, I think, her new show. I have no idea what's going on with her contracts. I know she signed her old YouTube channel to Daily Wire, she said publicly. So, I guess she's got to start a new channel because that was part of the Daily Wire contract. So be on the lookout for that. And I just want to wrap it up with this before I get to the Dana White part of this story. It's one thing to not want to work with Candace Owens, right? It's one thing to either fire her or have her quit or terminate the contract or whatever happened. I have no idea. That's one thing. But this is what I'll say publicly, and this is unsolicited advice or really just my opinion, and I really don't care who listens to it or what. This is just my podcast. I'm letting you know. Don't care if you agree or not. It's kind of crazy to like expect all of your employees to agree with you. Because like if you got rid of Jordan Peterson, like, I don't really like Jordan Peterson anymore. He's got good clips, but I find him annoying. His like weird, goofy suits are kind of cringe to me. And I think his foreign policy sucks. And he's like always wrong about stuff. He cries about the vaccine. Then he cries about like Justin Trudeau tricked him. And then it's like he gets to America and then he falls for gun control propaganda. And he says that like Matthew McConaughey makes sense. And it's like, dude, go back to Canada if you can't figure out the Second Amendment. But whatever, Jordan Peterson's a cool guy. People like him. If he got fired, right, regardless of what I thought, whether I was the biggest fan or I didn't like Jordan Peterson, you can't expect everyone at your media company. I don't know how many people work there. You can't expect everyone to agree with you. Candace is wildly popular. I'm sure like over 50% of the Daily Wire likes Candace Owens. I'm sure there's dozens of people there that, they're caught between a rock and a hard place, because I'm sure they like all the people at Daily Wire, but also they don't hate Candace Owens. And it feels like, all the moves being made, this is the game that they're playing. And that's why Candace couldn't stay there. If they were tolerant of other people's perspectives, in my view, that are much more honest than theirs, that's why they have to play this, because if they go toe-to-toe, they lose. So they have to use these tactics. They can't just be like, okay, let's just both do this. We'll debate and then we'll move on. It's like, it seems like they're paranoid, like running around trying to like, oh, if that's true and that story is true, that they did check that guy's emails and fire him because he sent letter of support to Candace over the Daily Mail smear, which had nothing to do with the Daily Wire, besides the fact that it was saying that she was bad to work with at that company. Like, are they running like a, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to exaggerate, but like a North Korea style where it's like everyone here has to agree with us on Candace Owens. Everyone has to agree. It's like, it's so, it's like, that's how you're going to run your company now. Like, you're so paranoid that anyone that works with you might like Candace Owens or talk to her. How many years did she work there? You know what I'm saying? Do you expect every single person at your media company to have all of your and Ben Shapiro's views now? They play this bullshit game where they're like, oh, Matt Walsh wants to cut foreign aid. Matt Walsh used to write articles 10 years ago about how the Israel lobby is one of the most powerful lobbies in America and how they call everyone anti-Semitic. Like, literally the stuff that I say and Candace said, Matt Walsh wrote an intelligent piece 10 years ago. He didn't just magically forget about that. He knows if he leans into that narrative about how the Israel lobby not just controls a lot of Republican politics and Democrat politics, but it also controls a lot of Republican media, he's running the risk of going too far as well. So Matt Walsh toes the line. Toes the line, it means he goes right up to what he can say. And then they point and say, see, we do have dissent. Yeah, but Matt Walsh is probably pooping his pants too, because he knows a lot more than he says. He wrote about it 10 years ago. He just, probably makes a lot of money at Daily Wire and doesn't want to go too hard on that topic because everybody knows how intolerant Jeremy and Ben are on that topic. And they start throwing out insults and, not wanting to converse about it. So it is what it is. But I don't know. To be honest, at the Daily Wire, I find Michael Knowles unimpressive. I think Andrew Klavan's beyond unimpressive. That's an understatement. I think Ben Shapiro is incredibly dishonest and sneaky. Jeremy Boring loves himself too much. He calls himself God King, tries to put himself in like little T, like lady ballers. I'm the star. I'm wearing Gucci jackets. Cool, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like there's nothing really there for me. Matt Walsh is interesting, but I know even he's like towing the line, wondering like, when his days are going to be over. And Candace was starting to be awesome before they fired her. And, it is what it is. So I wish them luck as a company. I think Daily Wire's done a lot of good work. I think they've made good documentaries. I think they do a lot of interesting endeavors, and I don't, dislike the whole company or anything, but I'm just, as a spectator of this all, it's bizarre behavior. And I know personally that Ben Shapiro, Andrew Klavan, they would never debate me on any of these topics. They'll just run and say Crisis King's a dog whistle. And, in my view, these are the tactics they've been doing for 6 years, 7 years now. It's just now people realize it. And, the more people realize it, the more like weird they act. But God bless them. I hope their company does well. And hopefully at one moment they'll debate Candace Owens. This is a huge topic, whether they call it hate speech or not. Most of Republican politics revolves around Israeli donors and Israeli politics. And, it's a huge topic that I feel like, and this is the last thing I'll say before I move on, it's a topic that does better when nobody's looking at it, because when nobody's looking at it, it sounds crazy. It sounds like a conspiracy theory. It sounds like hate speech. People got brainwashed in their churches to think that their entire life needs to revolve around one race of people and that they're not allowed to ever tell the truth about it or whatever. And they're like supposed to worship it. And then when it becomes mainstream, like it has been like the last 6 or 7 months, I would say that, Israel is in many ways losing the PR battle around the world, because constantly just calling everybody hateful doesn't work. I don't know. You got to be honest. And I'm not saying they're never honest or anything, but it's like everybody's got speech laws. Every country has speech laws. You go to jail in certain countries if you question their history. Now they say that this new event's like the last event that you can't question, that you go to jail for. And there's hundreds of speech laws being rolled out all over the world. And you can't question this and you can't question that. And you have to say we're the most moral army in the world. And if you don't, it's hateful and it's blood libel. I mean, like that's definitely a way to get people not to like you or trust you. So, 2 years ago when this stuff was kind of in the shadows, nobody knew about it. Now that it's front and center, I would say that they've lost almost the entire left wing and a large portion of the right wing. And, anytime you want to talk about it, you just get smeared and accused of things that you're not. So, I don't know what's going to go on from here, but even I saw in Israel, there's like war cabinet members stepping down. I don't know what's going on over there, but anyway, that's my opinion about the whole Daily Wire thing. Let me know what you think and I don't know. I don't really, like I say, I don't care, but let me know in the comment section or in the live chat. Do you think that they should be firing people and, sending like interns to record and doing all this stuff? Do you care? Is that fair game because it's a public event? Do they have a right to do that? Or do you think it's going a little too far? Let me know. Here's the next story. Dana White admits that the Howie Mandel freak out where he stormed out and it went viral a couple months ago, he admits it's staged. And the reason I'm playing this, there's a lot of things I really like about Dana White. I like the UFC. Other things, he pushes Bud Light a little too hard, but I like Dana White for the most part. I appreciate him. He's a good sports CEO, and he's definitely different from most of the other losers that are running like the NBA and the NFL. But anyway, I wanted to point this out before I play the clips. If this is staged, and if they were supposed to never tell you about it, what else is staged, right? Because this is something small. Of course, we know about actual false flags that they tell us in history class. Oh, look at all these false flags that happened in the 1900s. And then we won the war and the good guys won and the world's at peace and everybody loves us. And now false flags never happen. It's like, yeah, that's not true, but whatever. It's the same with this. It's like, I know a lot of reality TV is obviously staged. I mean, all of it's staged. It's scripted. People don't realize to what extent it's scripted, but now that they're even staging podcasts, it just makes me wonder, like, what else is staged? Because when this happened, I wasn't sure. I was like, maybe this was staged, maybe it wasn't. Listen to his story and listen to how he said that Howie Mandel told him, take this to the grave. Never tell anybody that I told you to stage this. And Dana White didn't listen. And you'll hear at the end why he didn't listen. Here's the clip.
Answer that. What was that set up with you and how it had to be?
So what happened was, I did the Sage Steele podcast when she called me Joe Rogan.
Well, okay,
So
how did we not talk about both of these?
Joe Rogan. I have so many. I got a couple questions too.
So first of all,
Poor
Sage Steele and I are
Poor
good friends.
Sage.
I love her. She asked me to be her first guest on the podcast, so I go out there. Now,
All right. So before I play the second clip, I wanted to say shout out to Andrew Schultz. I've had my disagreements with him, but it's whatever. I don't care. He's been doing some really interesting journalism. I know he's just doing a podcast, but he was like, was that stage? He was the one who kind of pried to get this out of Dana. So good job, Andrew. He's done a few interesting things recently that have really like moved the conversation forward. So I appreciate it. Here's a second clip.
the studio is owned by Howie Mandel, where these podcasts take place. She was signed to Bill Maher's podcast company.
Yeah.
And they're all done there in Howie Mandel's studio.
Got it.
So we get done with the podcast and Howie Mandel walks in and he's like, I've 100 podcasts a week happen here. I've never watched any of them. I watched your whole podcast, love who you are, what you stand for and all this stuff. And we hit it off. We start talking, great dude.
It's interesting. I knew Howie Mandel had that TV money, but I had no idea he ran like studios and podcasts and stuff. Just a fun fact. I mean, I don't care. I just thought that was interesting, but let's keep listening.
So he's like, let me show you around the studio. So he's involved in all kinds of shit. He owns social media companies and all this other stuff. Howie Mandel owns a lot of shit that people don't realize. Smart guy, great guy. So we're walking through and stuff. He goes, would you do me a favor?
That's great.
And I said, yeah, what's up? And he's like, would you come in and get up and walk off my podcast?
That's great.
I go, I would be fucking honored to walk off your podcast.
That's interesting. He owns social media companies as well. And then he asked Dana, he said, will you come in and walk off my podcast? And this went pretty viral. I would say it was one thing that I thought it might be staged. And I'll just say this. I wasn't 100% sure and I never said anything because I don't want to just like make stuff up. But I'd never heard of Howie Mandel's podcast. I don't think anybody really did. It seemed like it just came out. And the first clip that anyone ever saw from Howie Mandel's podcast was Dana White storming out. And I never saw there never was a full video. So the narrative online was like, oh, Dana just stormed out right at the beginning of the podcast. And that's why there is no full podcast. I thought it was a little suspicious, and maybe a good PR move, but Dana kind of confirms it here. Let's listen.
Honored to walk off your podcast because I'm so fucking sick of doing podcasts. It's funny. So we go in there and do it, right? And he's like,
awesome.
Take this to the grave. I said, done. I'll take it to the grave. Right? So I'm walking around. I go do this thing with the Nelk Boys, right? We're doing this Monkey Bomb fucking tour.
Yeah.
The whole fucking crowd starts chanting, fuck Howie Mandel. Fuck Howie Mandel. I go, whoa, whoa, whoa.
He's like, Howie Mandel tells Dana, take this to the grave. And Dana's like, I got you. And it's like, it's just funny where you're like, well, you're telling people right now, so you didn't take it to the grave. But the reason is he was on a Nelk Boys Monkey Bomb tour, which is some drink that they're promoting, like a mixed drink. And then the crowd just starts chanting, fuck Howie Mandel. And then Dana was like, wait, I got to tell people that I don't, we're on good terms. I don't want my audience to hate Howie Mandel because of a staged event.
I go, whoa, whoa, whoa. Time out. I can't do this. Howie Mandel's the greatest fucking dude ever. Sorry, Howie. It's just, when I go out and people start fucking shitting on the guy, and I'm sure he could give a flying fuck. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. So Howie Mandel's fucking awesome. And
So Dana had to spill the beans because, you know, his audience started hating Howie Mandel. And he was like, listen, I love Howie Mandel. I don't want my people to hate Howie Mandel. I got to let you know that it was staged. The reason I played that clip was just because, you know, what else are people staging? And with social media, obviously, like, I'll just let you know, I full-time do this. There's a lot of incentive to post a lot. Like that's the incentive. Of course, if you could post one time, someone said, shut up and sell me beer. All right, well, calm down, my guy. But anyway, if you just post one time a day, unless you have one of the biggest podcasts in the world, you can't really stay afloat. It used to be that way, but now it's like post 10 times a day, post 30 times a day, post 100 times a day. We don't care. It's, you know, we won't penalize you for posting a lot. Just post, post, post. So, you know, everybody's desperate for attention. Everybody's desperate for posts and memes. And, you know, I'm sure that they're not the only ones that are staging stuff. I mean, a lot of these street events, sometimes they'll ask people questions on the street. You know, sometimes they're legit, but other times I do think like certain things look staged to me, where if you can, you know, stage it and know that the outcome you want, you're going to get, and you'll get a lot of views, it just makes me question everything. I'm not like paranoid about it, but that looks suspicious to me. But I was like, maybe he really did storm off. I don't know. Just interesting that he admitted he did it. What else do you think is like that, where everybody thinks it's real, but you don't? Someone said Dana is WWE. Well, the company that Dana's the CEO of Zuffa Entertainment, I think it's called, or the UFC, but UFC is owned by Zuffa. So Dana's the CEO, I think, or whatever the title is, of the UFC. But Zuffa is owned by Ari Emanuel, and Zuffa owns WWE and UFC. Just a fun fact. They did buy WWE. So now WWE and UFC are under the same branch, but it's kind of above. I mean, Dana's like the top dog there, but above him is Ari Emanuel of Zuffa Entertainment. Just fun fact. Let me see. Does Anomaly do super chats? I do, but I have to pay attention because I'm my own producer. So during the show, I don't really read them. But like if you do it in the next 20, 30 minutes, I'll read the super chat. So, you know, I have to sacrifice some things because I'm my own producer. And I just want to tell my audience this right now. I appreciate you guys. You know, I do everything, like literally everything. I don't have any management. The only thing I have is I have someone with the merch that will ship it out, and I work with him on stuff. But besides that, like as far as the production and the videos, it's all me. So I've been really having to pick and choose what I do because I'm limited on my time. So I apologize if I ever fall a little short. It's just, I wish I could make more content. I just got to like slow it down and try to do quality. But let me see. Someone said Dana should be in jail for smacking his wife. I don't think so. I mean, you know, obviously it's not the best thing he's ever done, but you know, like I don't think he's like a wife beater. I think they just got mad and, you know, he got upset a little bit. I'm not justifying it, but I'm just saying, like, I don't think you should put a man in prison for that. If he like viciously beats his wife, then yeah, obviously. But like just a, you know, as Sean Connery said, just a little schmack, you know, I'm not saying it's right. But like jail time for that, I don't know. Then if like a wife hits you in the face, she'll be like, oh, it's not jail because I'm weaker. And it's like, I don't know. I don't think jail is the answer for that if it's like minor and in one time. But I'm not a judge. Someone said his wife swung first. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. If a woman slaps you in the face, are you not allowed to tap her back? Like, it's not like you're supposed to hurt her, but like, women could just slap the shit out of you and you're just supposed to sit there. I don't know. It's not something I want to really deal with. So hopefully I don't have to cross that bridge. Someone said Anomaly does a fair job. It's better than nothing. I would hope it's better than nothing. Thanks for the backhanded compliment. Anomaly does a fair job. It's better than nothing. I would hope so. Yeah. You know what else is better than nothing? A lot of things. Whatever. Someone said, I make content too for the gaming conscious community. What's the gaming conscious community? I don't even know what that is, but good luck. Let me see. Read a few. We need to start regarding these people with the same skepticism we do of CNN. The new mainstream media will be online. Tim the Ancient, that's a good comment. I want to say this because I try to say this, and the reason I explain myself is like, one, I do a podcast, so I do a lot of explaining, but also, do I have to explain myself? No. But the reason I do is not because I necessarily like am going to back off of what I think to please people. But if I explain things to you, I think it's more honest, where it's like, oh, this is what it is. And you're like, well, why? If I explain why, it has a little bit more substance to it. So I'm just letting you know, when I talk about other conservative media podcasts, etc., it's not jealousy, it's not anger, it's not hate. I'm not liberal. I don't work for CNN. I'm not a Democrat. Like, it's just the truth. There's two parties, and now there's mainstream media and there's truth or independent media. All independent media is not even independent, and all independent media is not telling the truth necessarily. There's a lot of the same business structures going on there than there are in mainstream media. So the reason I've talked about the right a lot over the last couple of years is because I thought from 2017 to 2019, we were building this movement that was so different. Then I realized that a lot of Republican media, they're not journalists or news analysts, and they're not trying to tell you the truth. They're like professional sports fans. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you run a Cleveland Browns YouTube channel and you're like, we're a Cleveland Browns fan, you're going to try to tell the truth, but at the end of the day, you're also like a huge fan, and you're always going to talk about your team and try to build them and push them in the right direction and whatever. And that's a lot of people in the podcasting world. Like 95% of Republicans, they're not journalists, they're not news analysts. They're either professional content stealers or they're professional fans. Like they're basically politicians disguised as reporters. So you understand, it's like, that's what I saw. And that's why nobody knows what's going on, because they just pick a side and they think they're getting the truth or the other side, but they're really getting, a really doctored version of it. And then you have this thing where they've done psychological experiments. Like, if you get 30 people in a room and everybody does something, and like, say 25 of the 30 people in the room are in on it and 5 people aren't, the 5 people can be swayed from the truth that they know is true because of the group herd mentality. That happens on the left, that happens in mainstream media, but it also happens on the right as well. Like during COVID and the last couple of years, like the right are easily sheep herded. So when it comes to indie media, when it comes to podcasting, you should absolutely treat them with the same skepticism of anybody. But this is my best advice, if I could give it, that I use myself. Once people lose my trust, you got to earn it back. Like, I'm not naive. I'm not a fool. I draw a pretty hard line, but if somebody lies to me or a newscaster lies or whatever, I see them doing something sneaky and they do it like 4 times, I stop trusting them. It doesn't mean everything they say is a lie. It doesn't mean everything they say is wrong, but just me personally, there's a lot of content out there. There's a lot of ways I could spend my time in this world. I'm pretty much over people who do that. That's how I feel about Trump. I think he's better than Biden in almost every way. I think that he'll probably win the election. I think he's funny. I think he's likable. He's like a rock star. Everybody wants to take a selfie with him. I just don't trust Donald Trump anymore. So it doesn't mean I hate him. I just don't listen to him because I don't believe him. So I'll just, when he gets in office, I'll pay attention, see who he hires, and I'll do my reporting. But I'm just like done believing him. But that's, it's not like he's going to do nothing. So we'll see. That's how I am with everybody. I feel like in this world, they're just too naive. I wouldn't even call it trusting, because every time I go live, I'm trying to earn your trust. And, I'm always trying to be as honest as possible every day. Like, I don't do it for a year and then lie to you for 3 years and be like, remember when I told you the truth 3 years ago? That's weird. And that's what I think a lot of people do, is they lose themselves, or they're just like off base, with certain stuff, or they get lost in the sauce, or lost in the money, or lost in the politics. And then they're just not who I thought they were. And then, I just stopped paying attention to them, because I'm like, all right, well, that's not a person that will tell the truth. And then on the right, there's people that will gaslight you too. And they'll be like, oh, I don't want to criticize Republicans because I'm Christian. It's like, what does that have to do with being Christian? If you don't talk about anybody, then sure. But if you only do it to politicians that you benefit from financially, then it's not like a Christian thing. You're just picking someone who will benefit your bank account and then not doing journalism against them. It's whatever, but I don't know. It's interesting stuff. But I would say the way to not get tricked, it's internal. It's nobody's fault. It's not Trump's fault, or Theo Vaughn's fault, or Andrew Schultz's fault, or Ben Shapiro's fault. It's really on you, because only you can believe them. Only you can trust them. And only you can, close your eyes and just let it all inside of you. That sounded pretty gay, but it is Pride Month, so it's whatever. That's what I think. I just think people need to have good discernment, and it starts with you, not anyone else. Someone said, I'm not willing to stick up for non-Christians. Why should I? I don't know. Personally, I think you should just do what's right, regardless of who it is, but it's up to you. I like to call it how I see it. I don't call it how I see it and then be like, oh, if it's not a Christian, then I don't see it. Like I don't operate that way, but whatever. Someone said bringing up politics in anything is a form of disarming citizens, is a breach of peace. Someone said, I'm confused by what you're saying, but I got you. Let's see. Someone said only you could prevent forest liars instead of forest fires. That's funny. You know, we like puns here. It's a very punny show. Someone said terrible things, atrocities have happened in Israel, but how much damage has been done with that shot? What shot are you talking about, the vaccine, or? I'm confused by your question. Someone said, I thought it was Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. It's Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. It's, sodomy month. It's June. It's right. It's the summer. June is what you make of it. Depends how gay you are, or if you're a guy that has mental health problems, or, maybe it's fat month or something. I don't know. June is obesity month. Obesity is beautiful. It's more beautiful than skinny. It's like, okay, if you say so. I think like my outrage, like I just don't care anymore. Like I care to the extent of like, I'm not going to like cave and be like a liar, but I almost feel like they want attention when they do something, so then sometimes I just don't want to give it to them. They'll be like, did you see like Miss Arkansas or whatever? And it's like, first of all, I'm like, is it even true? Because people can't even report like the right thing half the time. They like hoax everybody on the right. But anyway, it's like, if it is true, they want attention because they know they're putting some fatty McFat there. No, I'm just kidding. But some fatty. And it's like, look, doesn't that look like a model? And it's like, no, no, it doesn't actually. It's like, oh, so are you mad at that? And like, they want me to be like, oh, get to the gym, fatty. And then the liberals will be like, hey, that's my friend there. And it's like, you go with the gym with, like, they want that to happen. So I just ignore it completely. I'm like, I get it. That my best rebellion against this is like going to the gym. Like all the time I'm spending arguing with fatties on Twitter. And what if I'm getting fat? It's like, what I'm saying? I got to hit the treadmill or whatever. I got to go for a jog, because the more time I spend talking about fatties on Twitter, the fatter I'm going to get. So like that's my rebellion against like them pushing all this weird stuff, is I'm just trying to work out more. What do I think about the Caitlin Clark drama? I made a joke on Twitter and some guy got like, I think he was wasted. He got like mad at me and it weirded me out. And then I was like, all right, dude, it's like Friday evening. But anyway, Caitlin Clark is a good player. She's interesting. She's bringing a lot of attention to the league. But I feel like there's a few things happening. One, I made a joke and I said that like there's no like George Floyd type riot for this year. So they're giving you like racial battles through women's basketball, which is just atrocious. It's like, if you're going to do a race battle, don't do it in the WNBA. Be a man. Do it in the NBA. Pick a different league. Only a coward would have racial, black versus white battles through Caitlin Clark. Grow up and get your racial thrills a different way. But jokes aside, it's like, there's a lot of angles to it. I think Caitlin Clark has made women's basketball more popular than it's ever been, so people should like her. But at the same time, you have competitive female basketball players and they want to be the best, so they're not going to like be like, oh, I love Caitlin Clark. Like, their job is not to be a fan. They're supposed to D her up. Some of the players are fouling her, and then like, white people are getting mad, or they're like, oh, look at the racism. And it's like, is there some racism? Probably, I guess, but like, I don't know. I think, women can be petty just like men can be, but like women could be super petty. So, they're like getting, I don't know. Like, what do I think about it? I think she's good. I think she's selling a lot of tickets. I think she's interesting. And, there's got to be a dynamic to it in order for it to be interesting. So I don't look at it as like, oh, everybody's racist about it or whatever. It's just like, some of the chicks are going to not like her. They're going to foul her. Some of them are going to talk about race. Some of them aren't. They'll probably make all the white chicks feel bad for existing and be like, I'm so sorry or whatever. And it's just like, I don't know. I'm there for the entertainment. So at the end of the day, I think her and Angel Reese are good for the league. Like, the more they beef, the more people care about it. So I don't know. I don't use the word racist anymore. So I think it's overplayed. It's like, it is what it is. She's a good basketball player. She gets paid. she'll get fouled. A lot of people get fouled. People make racial comments. It's like, I don't know. I don't care. Someone said, you remind me of all my friends I grew up with. I don't know how you're able to deal with all this nonsense, but you crack me up. I appreciate you. Thank you, Jen. Well, there's a lot of nonsense, so I don't. Thank you for the compliment. There's a black player for the Boston Celtics, Jrue Holiday. He said even our white guys can defend, right? And I left a comment in like a big page on Instagram, and it got like tens of thousands of likes and comments. And I was like, oh shit, now I got to argue with people on this freaking Instagram today. But I just said there were a lot of comments saying, oh, this is so racist. Why is he saying white guys can't defend? And I'm like, bro, what if nobody gave a shit when someone said something racial? Like, that would be awesome. And people are like, oh, would you say that if a white guy said that to a black guy? Would I? Absolutely. Would everyone else? Absolutely not. But I'm not them. So I would say the same thing I'm saying now. I don't give a shit. But also, it's just like, I don't know. Like there's white basketball players who are good. Jokic doesn't give a shit what they say because he just won the MVP. Doncic doesn't give a shit what they say because he's probably better than Jrue Holiday. It's like, there's white basketball players who are good. There's white guys who are good at defending, like Alex Caruso. And then there's white guys who are shitty defenders. And then there's black guys who are shitty defenders. I just don't care if a black player says that about white players as a joke or whatever. Like, to me, it's kind of funny. I thought it was funny. But yeah, if a white guy said it to a black guy, I get it that it's like, oh, everyone would get mad. But here's my question to people. It's like, why does it work the other way? Like, yeah, I see what you're saying, how like it's not fair. But it's not fair because everyone plays along. Like, someone's like, oh, you're this. And I'm like, bro, I've been talking shit for 10 years publicly. You know what I'm saying? As a living. Like, I'm not scared of shit. What are you talking about? Like, it's always people that don't say anything that are afraid to say anything. Like, oh, if it was the other way around, then it's like, yeah, but why? Why when it's the other way can people get away with double standards? It's because so many white people play along with it and they're like afraid to say something. Like it's just like whatever. I don't know. I'm not a victim. I don't care. All the ways I think it's acceptable, but it's kind of like with the COVID stuff. It's like everyone played along. It's like I didn't play along and I lived my life accordingly and I got the results of someone who didn't play along. If everyone did that at once, then it would all go away. That's how I feel about the whole race thing. It's like, it's like everyone who plays along is like, what if it went the other way? It's like, yeah, everyone would get mad at you and then Kyrie Irving would have to donate to some organization. Yeah, it's crazy. But why did he do it? Like what why did no one have his back? Kyrie Irving didn't take the vaccine. How come no black players had his back? Because no one told them that was the acceptable form of activism. You can't stand up with your black brother when he wants to reject big pharma, but then you're going to complain when a player says something, and then the white guys are going to complain when a black player says something. To me, it's all just like, it's all corny. But someone said Celtics were originally white. I'm sure a lot of the teams were, unless you're talking about like the actual Celtics, like from back in the day, but I don't know. Someone said President Bukali's little bro with no Bitcoin. That's pretty funny. Someone said the microaggression should be the name of the WNBA team. I saw this clip of some WNBA player who was like a little hood, and they asked her a question, and she was like, "Nah, no cap, fan." Like, and it went viral, and they're like, "Oh, this is why you don't want to give women attention because this chick's stupid and she doesn't know how to talk or whatever." And then I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't know, that clip was also kind of funny. Like, any attention for the WNBA is good attention. So whether it's some chick who like doesn't know what she's saying or gets pissed off, or the racial battles between Angela Reese and Caitlin Clark, which aren't even racial, but people see themselves in it or something. They want to have like a civil war through WNBA players on both sides. To me, it's all kind of entertaining. Like, I'm not, I'm just like, it's better than last year's WNBA. That shit sucked, right? Someone said Brittany Griner is a man. That's hate speech. Apologize for the rest of your life for saying that. Brittany Griner is a beautiful young lesbian woman, okay? Like a lot of lesbians in the WNBA. Should be the LNBA, lesbian. Never mind, I'm just kidding. Don't say that. Just cancel myself. I apologize. I apologize to all of the ESPN staff and to the whole world forever. I'll sit after the show in silence and think about what I said about all the lesbians in the WNBA. Someone said Caitlin Clark was born a male. I've heard a lot of people think she's a tranny too, but I don't know. I'm not, no comment. I mean, Brittany Griner, when she came back from Russia, I don't know, her voice was a little deep, but that could happen with things in this world. I think that stuff's funny though. Like, you go to the comment section and people are like, oh, it's because she's white. Oh, it's because she's black. And then it's like, oh, it's because she's a girl. And they're like, oh, she's not a girl. She has a dick. To me, I'm just like, this is America. This is I'm not mad at it. Someone said Caitlyn. Hey, come on, guys. This is a serious news show. Someone said, I could see why people feel this way. Yeah, it's interesting. People enjoy dividing themselves over anything. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I guess all you should do, in my opinion, not to tell people what to do, but you shouldn't if you believe something is true and honest and righteous, you shouldn't allow public pressure to make you lie. That's all, whether it's white or black or this or double standards or look what that person said to that. Like, what do you believe? Are you an honest person? Do you have integrity? If you do, don't go along with the crowd. And if everyone who had integrity didn't go along with the crowd, it wouldn't be like, the things are the way they are because most good people just don't want to talk about it, or they'll do what they think is wrong just to fit in. Like, if that's why when I was arguing with people in the comments, it's like, they're like, oh, you probably wouldn't say that if it was a white guy. Like, they think I'm some liberal. It's like, no, I say it all the time. I'm not going to do the opposite. Like, I'm not a child where it's like, oh, let me do the opposite because they did it to me. Two wrongs make a right. Like, no, I'm going to call it like I see it, like a man. Every time. I don't care if they're black or they're white. And the same people that love when I say it the one time are probably going to hate the next time I say it. It's whatever. Someone said Dana lied, yet you didn't condemn him for it. I just did a whole show about how he lied. I mean, I think it's weird, but like, I'm not a condemner. I don't know. I condemn Dana. Go in the corner and apologize to me. Like, it is what it is. I did a show about it. I think the word condemn is kind of corny. It almost means like you think you matter so much that your condemnation is going to do anything. Like, I tell you what I think about it. I don't stage events. Other people do. So pay attention. Someone said, just like MJ said, it doesn't matter if you're black or white. Doesn't matter if you're black or white. Oh, that was a terrible MJ. Who did that? Ruining the damn show with that garbage music. But yeah, rest in peace, MJ. Someone said Dana Carvey. No, Dana White. Every time I think of Dana Carvey, I think of the time he was like a turtle. He was like turtle, and now I just look at him like a giant turtle. He did it to himself. It's not my fault. It was comedy in the 2000s. Joanna Man in real life. Yeah, and this is my thing. I'm not trying to pick on the Daily Wire, but then when they were like Lady Ballers starring the God King Jeremy Boring, I was like, you copied Joanna Man. I know because I saw Joanna Man in the movie theaters and it was funny. It's like they're acting like, here's an idea. Let's do a movie about a male basketball player playing female. Oh, like the one 20 years ago? That's way better than the shitty one you put out? Yeah, but we're going to make our CEO the star. Cringe, whatever. JK said, thank you for the $40 super chat. I appreciate you much more than all these other brokies on this stream. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you, brother. I hope you're well, bro. There's a good swell up here today. Any good body woman sessions for you lately? Thanks for the show. Here's some lunch money for your time. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I stopped body surfing because I'll walk you through it without taking too much of your time. I was crushing it, waking up 9 a.m., 10 a.m. every day, body surfing. I thought it was who I was. I felt great. I came out of the ocean with the salt water. I was like, I feel so healthy. And then I got stung by a stingray. They tried to Steve Irwin me, and that dang scoundrel, it got me right through the bottom of my foot. It popped a hole in my foot like a knife. And then it was like the craziest pain I've ever experienced for an hour until I put my foot in hot water, and it took a couple weeks for the cut to heal. Okay. I was like, I'm no softy. I'm no bitch. Excuse my language. But I was like, I'm going to get back in that ocean and I'm going to show that ocean who's boss. It's not me because the ocean could probably kill me at any second. But, I'm going to go back in. And then I waited 3 months and I went in one time and I got stung by a stingray again. And I went out scared, kind of moving real slow, shuffling my feet, and it got me again. Not as hard as the first time. The first time sucked. And then after it hit me the second time, I was like, that's a sign from the ocean that I have the wrong blood type or something. These stingrays are never going to leave me alone. So I'm not body surfing anymore. The ocean gave me its message. It said, no. And I was like, okay, fair. I got stingrayed twice in 2 times. So no, peeing on your foot, no, that's for like a jellyfish. Stingray, you put it in hot water. First of all, you got to make sure the stingray barb is not in your foot, but then also you got to put it in hot water. Have I heard of Elijah rising Christians in Texas? I have not. Someone said magnets keep sharks away. Yeah, I don't know if any of that's true, but I'm done body surfing. I was good at it. I could really crush. I could ride a wave pretty gnarly. It was fire. I looked cool. But the stingrays are like, dude, you got to get out of here, bro. It's not your neighborhood. And I was like, okay. I was like, I get it. Someone said anomalies, the TA to fail if you heading wrong. What is that? Anomaly, the TA to fail you if the heading's wrong. I'm confused, but thank you for the $1.99. Heat breaks up the proteins in the venom. Yeah, you put your foot in hot water and then it goes away. It's okay, but I'm over it now. Someone said I got stung by a ladybug once. That's just disgraceful. I didn't even know they sting. You're probably lying. Are stingrays really prevalent in California? I guess so. I don't know. I texted my buddy who surfed his whole life and I was like, yo, I got stung. And he was like, that sucks. I've never been stung. And I was like, really? You've been in the water for 40 years. You've never been stung? But I go in for like a year and I get stung. But it's because when you surf, you're on a board. When you're body surfing, you're just walking on the surface of the ocean. And I guess they're all over there. Someone said, I'm brown, so I have an afro. When I was little, 2 bees got stuck in my afro. LOL, it was horrible. That's the type of shit that makes you not want to go out in the summer, right? I got stung by I never had an afro, so that's not how I got stung. But I remember I got upset at my mom one time because she was like, go eat lunch or go do this on that, like this wooden table we had when we lived on actually, I don't know if it was the farm we lived on, but she was like, go eat on that waiting table. So I went out there to eat and there was like all these bees there and I got stung a bunch of times. And my mom was like, oh yeah, I forgot there's a bee's nest on that table. And I was just pissed off. I was like, why would you tell me to go to a table with a bunch of bees on it? Like, that's just crazy. Like, I was probably mad at my mom for like 2 days after that. Like, yeah, of course I'm going to get stung. Oh yeah. That table I told you to sit down at. Yeah, there's like a whole nest there with like dozens of them. I was like, it would have been good information like 20 minutes ago, but appreciate you, My mom was like kind of a hard ass. I think that's why I came out a go-getter, because my mom, she was like, go ride your bike, go off. I remember one time she told me to like go off a ramp. I was like 8 years old. She's like, try the ramp. And I had no idea you had to like pull your wheel up because I'm freaking like 8 or 10 or something. And I like didn't. And then, or maybe I was like 12. I don't know. And I didn't pull my thing up and I went over the ramp and my bike just went straight down and I like hurt myself so badly, scraped my arm, like hit myself with the bike. And my mom's like, oh, you'll get it next time. I was like, why would you do that to me? But I'm glad that she did that because that's why I'm not soft. I think if she wasn't so like, intense like that, I think I would have been weaker. But she was always like, just like, go do that. I'm like, yeah, but I'm 12. You got to tell me how to do it. I don't naturally know these things. I'm not like watching BMX and shit. I was a soccer player. I know soccer. I don't know that much. I'm 12. Give me some hints here. But it's all good. Someone said bugs and afros equal a bad time. Yeah. I bet the bee was just as pissed as you were. It's like, how do I get out of here? And you're like, how do you get out of here? He's like, I'm trying. That must have sucked. I have a Gen X spirit. I don't know what that means, but I guess I appreciate it. I like posting boomer millennial like beef content. That's my stage event. Like everybody stages events. I don't do that, but I'm like, here's a meme that like kind of disses boomers and millennials at the same time. Facebook, and then just get people to fight with each other. And then I'm just like, see how much money I make off that one. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously. Someone said I explained to my kids how to swim before I throw them in the pool. Yeah, that sounds like good. I mean, my mom taught me how to swim and stuff. She didn't like drown me. So I'm here, aren't I? I made it. So she did what she needed to do, apparently. Someone said, I see you being more informative as a parent. Yeah, I think when the time comes, I'm going to be like paranoid. I'm going to be like, I don't know. Cause I just feel like this world is not what I grew up in. So I don't trust anything anymore. Like, I'm going to have to move somewhere in the middle of nowhere or something. Parody Bear, are you having fun there, dude? You're playing like crossword puzzles with yourself. He's like posting a bunch of things. He's like, is it Totino's or Totinos? Is Gilbert Godfrey spelled this way or this way? He's having his own little like wordplay game with himself, and no one's playing along. He's done it for like 10 minutes. Parody Bear, you know, you're like Alex Trebek, except that shows up somewhere where no one's there to play with him. So rest in peace, Alex Trebek. That's a real one. Am I married? No. Someone said Gen Z is the experience of watching George Bush push China to invade the world. I knew Bush was a liar as a kid. It's because I listened to underground rap music, and they were like, the wars are fake. And I was like, oh, the wars are fake. And then everyone's like, oh, you hate America, you conspiracy theorist? I was like, whoa, you know, I was into like that stuff, and nobody else was. That was weird to me. Like now, as crazy and bad as it is, like most people kind of like know a lot of stuff now. I felt like when I was like 14, like nobody knew anything. Like I was just like, yo, did you hear this? And they're like, oh, you damn conspiracy theorist. Why don't you believe the government and the teachers? I was like, I don't know. And they're like, you're crazy. Like, I don't remember having any friends who believed anything I said ever. I mean, that's why in a sad, really depressing way, like the internet was my friend. This is really pathetic, but you know, that's what the internet was for a lot of us growing up. It's like in our towns, like no one believed us or nobody, like no one cared. And then it's like, oh, well, I got to play games on the internet, or, you know, the internet cares. I started rapping on YouTube. I was like, nobody gives a shit about my rap here. Although I did win a few battles in high school and stuff. People knew I was a good rapper, but I was like, I need to use YouTube and get other people to see it. So now like half the world knows that everything's bullshit. But I feel like 20 years ago, like I couldn't find anybody that knew it. Selenium 555 said, I'm a boomer, but I love Anomaly. We love the bass boomers. Let me see. Someone said rappers contradict themselves a lot. I like old school rap, but I'm just being completely honest. I mean, it depends who you listen to, but I think this is my critique of rap as a huge rap fan. I've liked it through all the eras until the Kendrick Drake beef, which was interesting because they were beefing. Nothing's been interesting because everyone's saying the same stuff and it's just like, it's not edgy anymore. Like to me, I want to hear rap about what's going on in the world. Like who's rapping about inflation? Who's rapping about politics being fake? I always liked underground rappers because they were telling me like the Vietnam War is not what they told you it was. Like Jedi Mind Tricks and R.A. the Rugged Man, they have a whole rap song about the Vietnam War being not what we were told it was. And like, that's what I liked in high school, and I still like it now. So mainstream rap, it's just like, you know, it's gotten very like stale and kind of like evil. But there's a lot of good people. There's always good songs. You just got to like dig through the mainstream bullshit. But yeah, I'm kind of just bored with like, if it's not interesting or the message is not good, I don't care about it. But my playlist, I got some new stuff, some old stuff. Someone said, I love the fact that everyone's waking up to the push of Satanism in Hollywood. Well, it's getting so obvious. I think that's why, like, you know, that's the positive of when things get really bad. Like, let me go off of Europe, because I posted a few times. The AfD was considered so far right and crazy and horrible and like a fringe movement. Now they're the second most popular party in Germany. You know, Marine Le Pen apparently just beat Macron at something. I don't know if it was the presidential election or the EU election. Europe confuses me. They eat croissants and smoke cigarettes at like 10 a.m. and they have weird governments. So I'm not really sure what is going on, but, you know, I'll blame the croissants. But in France, I think, you know, Marine Le Pen's party beat Macron's. Hopefully it wasn't just a pickleball or something. Hopefully it was like a real election, but that happened. And then Italy won a bunch of seats on the right wing. So when things get bad, at first people mock you and then they don't understand. And then everybody figures it out once things get shittier and shittier and shittier. So to me, I think like, you know, that's going to happen in America too. It's just in every country, the question is the opposition real opposition or is it controlled opposition? And if the opposition is controlled opposition, like a lot of people suspect Trump is, and a lot of people suspect Maloney is, and you know, a lot of people suspect the Geert Wilder guy in, you know, Netherlands and Milei in Argentina. You know, if they are controlled opposition, how controlled? Because like 10% controlled, you can do a lot. He could fix Argentina. 100% control, or like, you know, that's my question with everyone. Because I do think that Milei is controlled opposition, but he's also done a lot of libertarian principles. So the question is, in 4 years, how controlled is he? What will he do? Like if you fix the economy, but then you mess up the economy over a vaccine, pharmaceutical thing, you didn't really fix the economy. But then everybody's going to be like, oh, he just didn't know. And I'm not saying that's going to happen in Argentina. This is just how I see it. Like, I don't think everything's random. And sometimes they give you stuff to please you and then pull it out and then get you caught in a narrative where you're like, oh, they didn't mean to do it, so then the show keeps going on. So with Trump, it's like, I hope he really crushes. I hope he does a good job, but I guess, only time will tell. And then the question is, will people figure it out? Thoughts on the Mexico president? It's interesting. It's definitely interesting. I mean, I haven't done too much research into it, just what I kind of shared like a week or two ago. Let's see what she does. I definitely think that something's going to go down in Mexico if Trump wins, because the combination of her winning president and Trump, the Republicans want to fight the cartels. And my concern is they never do the right thing in any other country. So I don't understand why they can't even fix our cities. Here's my thing. If you could fix San Francisco, San Francisco could be a really cool city. Right now, it sucks, kind of. LA sucks. LA is really bad. LA is gross, disgusting. It's an amazing city that's just destroyed. New York used to be better. Austin is falling apart. It's okay. Fix our cities and then be like, America's crushing. We secured our border. We're stopping boats that are just dropping people off in random Southern California cities. Then be like, now we're going to talk to the rest of the world. But if they can't even fix America, why am I supposed to believe that Donald Trump and Dan Crenshaw are going to go to Mexico and fix Mexico? They can't even fix America. So, I think something's going to go down in Mexico because everybody's talking about it, but they never do anything right. So they always create a worse refugee crisis, and then America has to intake it in Europe. So I'm sketched out by it because, this is another thing too. Everywhere isn't supposed to be the same, right? And Mexico has its problems, but Mexico's Mexico. If Mexico could be Mexico and America could be America, its problems should be its problems, and we should secure our border and allow people to come over, but make sure that its problems don't become our problems. It's the same with Africa or Europe. France should be France. Germany should be Germany. England should be England. Africa should be Africa. And, you could try to help, but at the same time, it's like every country and continent and group of people and religion, the same thing, in my view, doesn't work for everyone. It just doesn't. It's, it's like a diet and exercise. And it's like some people can never work out and they're still kind of fat, and some people never work out and they have 8-pack abs. Maybe they have a good metabolism or good genetics, or I don't know. But everyone is unique, and we're supposed to lean into our diversity and be like, oh, God made all his children different. But instead, they're like, we need to do everything the same. Africa can be like San Francisco. We need Uganda to be like San Francisco. Palestine doesn't have pride parades. Why are the Muslims doing this to the women? It's like, is everything our problem all the time? I don't subscribe to that. So Mexico, I think the cartels stabilize Mexico in a weird way, the big cartels. And if you try to take them out of the cities, there's a chance you could fuck up everything. And there's a chance they could fuck it up for the whole continent. So I like the idea of securing our border and dealing with any foreign gangs when they're in America. But if our police and FBI can't even do anything with foreign gangs in our country, then how am I supposed to believe that they're going to have success in another country with a different race, with a different culture, with a different identity, with a different language, with different history, with different, societal belief systems and stuff? Yeah, there's overlap, but I don't know. I just think that the liberal gay world order doesn't know what they're doing. They always mess everything up. So I don't know what can and can't work in other places, but I don't think it's our job to find out. If Uganda starts crushing, congrats. If they don't, let them deal with it. I don't know, trying to make them America. I don't know if it'll work there. They probably need a leader that they understand, that has lived there and knows their culture and their problems. We don't really fully understand everyone's problems. But that's my opinion. Someone said, Trump is fighting the deep state for you. You should fight for him. You can do it, my guy. Fight for Trump by sending your money to him. or vote for him or believe in him. I don't like, sure. I've done a lot for Trump over the last 8 years. And I've also done a lot for the American people. And when Trump and the American people are at a crossroads, I lean with the people. I don't lean with a politician. I don't take Pfizer money. So if Trump takes Pfizer money and starts turning into a pharmaceutical lobbyist, it's not my decision to pretend like it's not happening. I do real news analysis. Real news. Never mind. I was going to make a joke, but I don't know. Never mind. You said you're kidding. I mean, to each their own. I don't. So I saw this lady. She like I was going somewhere and she recognized me and she was like, "Oh, there's Trump stuff going on. You probably don't like it, right?" I'm like, I'm fine with it. I like Trump supporters. I like people. It's just like to what extent, you know, like I have my beliefs. I don't, you know, I'm not going to treat this like a sports game at this point, but no, I like seeing conservatives having fun. It's just like, pay attention, you know, if he wins, when he wins, just pay attention. I'm not trying to stop people's fun. It's just like, figure out how this works. And then we got to maneuver it. You know, that's what it is. Someone said, I've been talking about Pike's letter for 10 years. Are you talking about Albert Pike? I need to fully read that because I know about him and his like legacy, but I don't know. I've never read the full letter. Someone said, LOL, Anomaly joked and said he took out a loan to donate to Trump. I thought that was hilarious. Did I say that one stream? Oh my gosh, the deep state, he's really on his ass. Miriam Adelson only gave him $100 million to do stuff for Israel, and then we'll get called anti-Semitic for pointing it out. The only way to fight the deep state and, you know, stop Trump from selling out to the donors is to take out a loan and give them my hard-earned money so I can, you know, be peanuts compared to Miriam Adelson's donor money. It's like, I don't mind that donors donate to him, but it's like if he starts doing things like he's getting paid. I don't know. Like my $100 is not going to sway his decision, but 100 million definitely will. Someone said, if you want to defeat deep state, make corporate lobbyists illegal. Yeah, I mean, I think lobbying could be illegal. I think that's probably a good idea, is to make lobbying illegal. That would help a lot. The left used to care about that. But here's another thing. People just got to pay attention. I mean, I know it's harder than that, but like too many people think it's like a game. You know, if everyone knew that they were all taking lobbying money, then we'd all be able to like point it out and then shame them and then make them stop. But 95% of political people, they're just like, Trump's going to save me, or they're like, Trump's going to jail. That's bad. That's good. I hate him. I love him. I watch Rachel Maddow. I watch Sean Hannity. Look, he's got a football in his hand. It's like, okay, Sean Hannity, you got a little Nerf ball. Cool, bro. I challenge you, Sean Hannity, to a sports off. Okay. You got the Nerf ball in your hand. You think you're so athletic, you know, starting all these wars in the Middle East, you know, sucking up to Trump a little bit. I challenge Sean Hannity to a throw off. We'll play a target game. We'll throw your little Nerf ball through a hoop. We'll play basketball. Let's do a decathlon. Okay. I challenge Sean Hannity to a decathlon, and then we could have a beer after and laugh about it, or not. I don't know if he drinks. Anyway, that was awkward. Someone said, what do we do? It seems like we'll only have Trump and Biden on the ballot. Well, you either vote for one of them or you don't vote for one of them, and then you just move on with your life. I don't know. Like you vote for Trump or you don't vote, or you do vote. And then once he wins, or if he wins, then just, you know, don't follow people that are just like slobbering over him. In my view, just pay attention. And then, you know, take it. There's more people who know more now. I'm not trying to be pessimistic, like nobody knows. More people know now than they did in 2018. A lot more. The problem is the major influencers who control a lot of conservative commentary, they're just as big of sellouts as the politicians. They're sold out to sponsors and donors and, you know, just political like friendships and stuff. So that's the issue. For me, it's tricky because I'm not like a backstabber. I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a gossiper. I would never throw my friends under the bus. But here's the thing. When it comes to Trump or all these people in politics, I'm not gossiping about Trump's personal life. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm not doing some weird thing where I'm like trying to make him look bad because I'm jealous or whatever. He's taking hundreds of millions of dollars in donor money. Okay. But then if he goes against America First policies and he starts working for the pharmaceutical industry, or he starts saying a foreign country should own our Congress, which he has multiple times, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to be friends with a politician doing that, or am I supposed to do my job? I choose my job. And I just want people to know, I don't think journalism is being petty and douchey. And I'm not like a little snake who works for one of these like, newspapers who just talk shit about everyone. That's not what I'm trying to do. I like having friends. I like networking. I want to be, I want to be in the in crowd. But at the end of the day, like if someone's selling my country out to the pharmaceutical industry and saying that they're the father of the vaccine, I can't will myself to say that that's a cool thing. I think it's bad. I think it's horrible. And if the opposition's that controlled, then we have no dog in the race. That's how I see things. But other people, they see Trump as an opportunity. They see him as a paycheck, and they'll tell you that they're being loyal. I'm being loyal to Trump because I care about the country. You're being loyal to your bank account. You're being loyal to your social circles. If someone else had that power that Trump had, a lot of these people would be doing it to the other people. They don't care. You could tell the difference between someone who likes Trump for the right reasons and someone who's just kind of like coattail riding him. So, it's the same with the Republican politicians I always talk about with the Israeli lobbyists. They'll tell you how bad anti-Semitism is and how much they like Jews. And it's like, do you really, or are you just making money? Because like, if you really liked a group of people, like I've never taken $100 million to like a group of people. Like that's called lobbying. If I like pharmaceuticals, I just do reporting on it. I don't take $1 million from Pfizer. So all of these politicians that claim they like people, it's like they like money, they like power, and they'll do whatever they have to for money and power. It's just luckily for them, hundreds of millions of people are obsessed with Donald Trump. So their lobbying can, coincide with like idol worship of him, in my view. Someone said they said Chicago farmland being bought up by the Chinaman. The Chinaman. I don't know why that's funny, but like just in like it's like Chinese people, it's like not funny. The Chinaman, it's kind of funny. But anyway, yeah, Chinese people are buying a lot of property in real estate. Saudis are buying a lot of property in real estate. The group that must not be mentioned already own a lot of property in real estate. I've noticed these trends. Someone said Chip Roy has the presence of Trump, but they hide him. The Republican Party hides him. Yeah, he's done some interesting stuff. I think he liked DeSantis more than Trump, so that's not good for your career. If you liked DeSantis more than Trump, it's hard to get out of that. But Thomas Massey's done a good job. If Thomas Massey can do it and get popular, Chip Roy can figure it out. Heather said, "This is why I respect you, and I'm going to let you tell 100% of the truth on these things." Which I don't know if, sorry, I didn't read what you said. I don't know if I can name one other person who does this besides a couple of lawyers I follow for legal news. I appreciate it. And this is what I know to be true as well. I'm pretty spiritual, and there's things that I believe about how the world works where I'm very into like internal self-accountability, because at the end of the day, the only thing that you really can control is yourself, and I do believe that if you're honest with yourself, if you do hone in to yourself, you'll then have better discernment. Like when you're lying to yourself, you let other people lie to you. So as much flack as sometimes I might get for certain things, I know the type of people that do like me are people that are honest. Like if you're as honest as I am, you could see how my reporting works. You can notice the difference between me and 5 other podcasters the same way I notice it, the same reason I'm here to do this in the first place. So, I do think your vibe attracts your tribe. I appreciate the compliment. And I know that there's a reason I've had over 1 billion views. There's a reason I have millions of followers, and there's a reason I still get millions of views a week when I make videos. It's not all bad. It's not like everybody hates. It's not like everyone doesn't get it. I think a lot of people do get it. And the type of people that do get it are the people that I want to like me, like the quality of people that have reached out and people that I know that are in, media and stuff. Like the right people like me. And that's all I really care about. Thank you, Heather. She said, respect to you, Anomaly, for always being 100% truthful and the uphill, trying to wake people up. It's an uphill battle. Thank you, Heather. I appreciate you. Thanks for the super chat. Someone said, exactly. People are lying to themselves when they go to the doctors thinking that'll save them. Well, I don't know about all that, but I appreciate the comment. I'm just not, doctors, I think a lot of doctors do a lot of good stuff, but I think the pharmaceutical industry has too much power in America, and it's not good. It's too much pills, too much, like watching TV is disgusting now because everything's a pharmaceutical ad. I really don't like it. Someone said, Massey unfortunately can't do much. He's just one guy in a swamp of homosexual gangsters. I'm going to read that comment again. And for the critics out there, I did not say this. It was someone else, but it is funny. He said, Massey unfortunately can't do much. He's just one guy in a swamp of homosexual gangsters. Anyway, we got some real bad people in the comments. I'll monitor that. But no, jokes aside, or not jokes aside. Yeah, no, he definitely can only do so much. But once people realize that they don't have 30 people fighting for them, they have like one person, then you can get more people by pointing that out. You know, with Thomas Massey too, when it comes to like the Steve Bannon arrest and, you know, they're going after Peter Navarro. Rand Paul said something, and Thomas Massey, they're actually looking for solutions. They're like, if we really wanted to, we have the power of the House. We could do this. I believe that 99.9% of Republicans are not even trying. I think they're fake opposition. I think they fundraise off it. I think a lot of them work for a foreign country. That's what I think. So it's not that I don't care, because it's people will say like, if you let them go for them, they'll come for you. It's true. That's why I like to have the back of Steve Bannon or Donald Trump. And I like to say what they're doing is wrong. But at the same time, once you lose my trust, I don't know who you are anymore. Is Trump being persecuted? Probably. Is he just staging it or something? Like, you know, like he's so fake sometimes that I don't even know what to believe. Like, you know, Bannon's getting arrested, but he's not getting arrested, but he is getting arrested because he didn't show up to this thing that he knew that he was going to get arrested if he didn't show up to. Like, yeah, I think what they're doing to him is wrong. But to be honest, I don't dislike Steve Bannon. I just don't trust him. It doesn't mean I hate him. It doesn't mean I'll never listen to him. I think he's interesting. He seemed like he was loyal to Trump. He's probably a good politician to have in your cabinet. You know, like he's a talented guy. I just personally, as like a citizen, I don't trust these people. So when all this stuff's going on, it's like, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to say what's right to stand up for people regardless of politics. I just don't know who's telling the truth anymore. And once I see someone kind of be a little phony on like 3 or 4 topics, I'm just supposed to believe that they're right about this. I don't know. Hannah Banana said, this super chat is to double down on whatever Heather just said with a heart emoji. Thank you, Hannah Banana. Appreciate you. And I like bananas. They're a good fruit. One of the better ones. And what I like about the fruit banana, don't be disgusting, a bunch of degenerates in there on Pride Month, but bananas have a natural covering. It's like God was just like, yo, you want a fruit? And I'm like, for sure. He's like, do you want to make sure there's something around it to like protect it and keep it clean? And I'm like, for sure. Here's a banana. And then you just peel it and it's just sitting there looking awesome because it's got this like hard protective layer around it. I mean, stop playing. You know, the Lord was in his bag with bananas. The fruit. You degenerates. Stop being gross. Anyway. Someone said, is Trump being persecuted? Absolutely. But should we ignore his own morals to defend him? Absolutely not. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I'm ignoring his morals. I'm not saying it's not about his morals, because in life it's about morals, but I'm just saying, like, I just don't know who to believe. Because, like, for instance, like Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon, he talks about China all the time. China. Sure, talk about China. They're buying farmland. They have a lot of power. They're our adversary. But George Soros also criticizes China. That doesn't mean anything. I'm just saying he also doesn't like China. Like Nancy Pelosi criticizes China. Whatever. Do it. I'm not asking you not to. But Steve Bannon, does he ever talk about Israel's influence in America? I don't think ever. So it's like, if you don't even talk about what everyone knows is probably, like when it comes to American life and buying up real estate, I'm not saying China's definitely top 3, you know, maybe top 2. Saudi got a lot of money too. But when it comes to like American politics, China doesn't have 1/1000th of the influence that Israel has. That's like literally just true, whether you like it or not. It's like China buys up farmland. China buys real estate. China has influence in other ways, but direct American political influence, Israel's number 1 and number 2 is not even close. So you could talk about Qatar. You could talk about Saudi Arabia. You could talk about China. But if you never talk about that and you're always just freaking people out on the war room, I don't listen to the guy. I don't hate him. I don't, he seems like a good, guy to have on a political team, but I just don't know what's real or what's not anymore. Cause once people lose my interest or lose my trust, I just don't know. Cause like the same way that Dana White staged that thing, like I like Dana White. I don't agree with him on everything. There's things I dislike, but generally he's not one of my least favorite people by any means. I like the UFC a lot. I think he's interesting to listen to. But he staged an event with Howie Mandel. Okay. Who else is staging events? That's all I'm saying is like, I don't stage events. If I staged an event and I didn't tell you and you found out 5 months later, wouldn't you kind of wonder every time I went live, is he lying? Is he staging an event? Like, that's how my mind works. Like, if you stage one event and didn't tell me for 4 months, what's stopping you from doing that on other stuff? So that's how I feel about a lot of these newscasters. Everything's a whoa, everything's a Trump's going down or I'm going down. Give me that. Like, and then it only helps them financially, politically. Like, it only helps them times 100. So it's like, what's real and what's not real? It's hard to trust anybody these days. So it's not that I don't believe them, and it's not that I don't think the deep state's out of control or the government. Like, I see what's going on in the country just like everyone else. I just, I don't really trust. I just don't really trust a lot of these people anymore. Someone said you do events on stages. I do events on actual stages. Yes, that does happen. What is the next big event you'll be at? I don't know, but I will say this, because I told G. Edward Griffin that I would help him out with ticket sales, even though I can't make it. He booked me last second. G. Edward Griffin is doing some Red Pill Expo, and he booked me the last second to do it. And I thought I could do it, but then I was like, I can't. It was just too quickly. Like, he asked me last second. So, if you want to go to G. Edward Griffin's Red Pill Expo event, check that out. I told him I'd help him sell tickets just as just to be a solid guy. And also, I'm going to have a video play there. There's going to be 5 minutes of a new documentary that we did about the Yuri Bezmenov interview with G. Edward Griffin with Justin Malone Pictures. So that's going to premiere at the event. And then I'm doing like a 35-minute video presentation for the event as a solid to him, just to make up for it. So that should be cool. But I'm not going to be there in the flesh. I'll be at the UFC Conor McGregor fight, though. I'll be there. Not on TV, though. I'm not that cool or popular. Someone said, let's see. Anything you do to help G. Edward Griffin makes you a hero? Well, we're doing a whole documentary about him and Yuri Bezmenov with Justin Malone Pictures. It looks incredible. Like, I'm in it partially. I'm one of the speakers, and I do think I was one of the inspirations for it. But if all goes well, I think it's going to be the best documentary of the year. It looks really good. Justin Malone is really talented. And he has good taste. That's why he asked me to be in it. So I'm just kidding. But yeah, it should be awesome. I'm excited to be in a documentary. Hopefully I do my thing. I did my thing in it. No, I'm just kidding. We'll see. I'm not going to be in it heavily because it's more about Yuri and G. Edward. Someone said politicians will say anything to get elected. Dude, the video, I did it the last couple of days, so I'm not going to play it again because I can't even play it. But did you see when they asked Trump, they were like, are you going to release the 9/11 files? I didn't even know there were 9/11 files. I mean, it makes sense. But JFK files, which he partially released, but didn't release most of it. And then the Epstein files, which I don't think any politician wants to release. But anyway, they asked Trump, they're like, would you release the 9/11 files? And he goes, yeah. And then they're like, would you release the JFK files? And he's like, yeah, I did some of those. Yeah. And then they're like, would you release the Epstein files? And he's like, yeah. And like, it like got less confident as he went along. By the end, it was like, yeah. And everyone's like, he's going to release them. And I'm like, bro, I'm no body language expert, but I do not think he's going to release them, and I'm not going to say I want him to, but it's like, I don't like, I'm not Benny Johnson. I don't listen to that. And I'm like, oh, Trump's going to release the Epstein files. Like, do you really think he's going to, listening to that? Because I don't. To me, it sounded like he's not, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't vote for him if you want to vote for, like, that's Biden's not going to release him. So it's not, I'm just saying, like, objectively, I don't think he's going to, but then it's like, oh, based. Oh, he's going to do it. Guys. It's like, that's most like Republican media. It's like, it's literally like it's like a sports rally. Anytime Trump goes anywhere, it's a sports rally. Conservatives come out, red hats, like it's fun. I get it. But it's also kind of like, dude, his last term ended in like borderline communism, $7 trillion printed. He destroyed the economy. He ran around selling pharmaceutical vaccines. And then he sent one of the worst spies in American history back home to their country on his donor's jet. That's not really making America great again. But yeah, he's a victim because you wear your hat and you want to go see him at an event. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't hate it. It's just like, it's kind of like, oh, they're right. They just like, everything's like Leonard Skinner, Alabama football, Donald Trump. And I like Leonard Skinner. I like football. I like sports. I'm not trying to be a dick, but that's just what like conservative culture reminds me of. They're like, Trump's in town. Let's put on the Leonard Skinner and watch our football, and and then we'll drink to Trump, and then we'll pass out, and then we'll wake up and watch Dan Bongino, and then we'll pass out, and then we'll wake up and watch Sean Hannity, and then we'll pass out, and then we'll wake up and Trump rallies on. It's like a sport, you know what I'm saying? Like Trump is he's like a rock star. It's like a combination of like the Trump tour is like a Kid Rock concert meets like like a football game. It is what it is, but I'm just like, but like I'm all for people being popular and having fun, but it's like he's a politician who said that he's the father of the vaccine, and like you guys are like drooling over him. It's kind of embarrassing, but whatever. The Bill Barr dad Epstein connection, yeah, I think you could see that on Wikipedia. Someone said secret Ye interview with Candace. Is that coming out? Dude, that's gonna break the internet, as the kids say, if she really has a Ye interview. That would be pretty wild. I mean, her show started today, so subscribe to her new YouTube channel and subscribe to mine. I don't do that anymore, but if you want to watch the first video I've ever done, I can't play it because I'll get copyright stricken. My first YouTube video ever that had my face in it was in 2008. I think I was 18 or 19 years old, and I just got to college, probably 19. And I did a rap over Let the Beat Build by Lil Wayne. And at the end, I'm like, subscribe, tell your friends to subscribe. It was like my first YouTube video. I was like one of them YouTubers, but it's pretty fire. I mean, my hair looks kind of goofy, but yeah, it's Let the Beat Build by Anomaly. That's my first ever YouTube video in 2008. So I was kind of cooking though. I remember all the lyrics too. But someone said, thanks for hanging out with you guys. My pleasure. I don't talk like personal things. Like I don't really talk about on my show that much, but I had some like not health issues, but just like housing issues and stuff the last couple of weeks. So I actually was like, I had to like move stuff and do a bunch of stuff. So yeah, it was like annoying. That's why I didn't do that many videos. Usually when I don't do videos, I'm either like seeing my family, traveling for work or something, or, sometimes I'm on vacation. And then other times I just have like other shit going on. And luckily to, for my job, I can work in other ways. Like when I can't do my videos every day, sometimes it feels good to just like take a break and then think about and work on other stuff that I don't get time to do. But let me see. Anomaly talk about Graham, Lindsey Graham or Graham crackers. You got to be more specific. Graham Allen, Graham. I'm out of grams. Anagrams. I like anagrams. I'm big into words. Poetry, rap, anagrams, playing little games with words. Someone said, if you ever want to flip a property or need some painting servant, I'm the guy. All right. Thank you, Joe. Property, everyone keeps telling me like it's not the time to buy, but then it's like people from Saudi Arabia and China keep buying everything. So I don't know. It's like, are the prices ever going to go down? Because people from other countries can just come and buy stuff. So I don't know. Alexander Graham Bell. There you go. Mr. Telephone, if you know what I mean. Is this raw silk? I don't know, but I'll look after my stream. I got this shirt a while ago and it is really comfortable and it is pretty like silky feeling, but I don't know if it's real silk, but it's a good one. It's one of my favorite shirts. Someone said, damn, dude, you look so young in that video. I was young. I was 19 years old. I look like I was like 16 though, but I just looked young. When I think it took a long time for me to grow up. You know what I'm saying? Like some people, they look like they're like 40 when they're like 20. I look super young. So I think I still look younger than my age. So it's a good thing now. But when you were young, you wanted to look older, I think. Aubrey Graham. Yeah, that's another Graham. Someone said people that follow celebrities have low IQs. Maybe. I don't know. Everybody needs to be into something and everybody wants something to like take their mind off of things that are like important. So, everybody likes music or sports or TV shows or gardening. Everybody's got their thing. Me personally, I like certain people, but I usually like celebrities because of like who they are. But I would say that's probably why other people like celebrities too. Like, they're like, if you ever talk to a Taylor Swift fan, they're like, no, she's a really good person. She donates her, like they know her whole thing. Me, I'm like, oh, Kyrie Irving didn't take the vaccine and he thinks the earth is flat and he got suspended for an Amazon documentary because he says he's Jewish, even though I don't know if he is. I was like, okay, I can get into that. And then people were getting mad at me. They're like, did you watch the documentary? And I was like, no. they're like, do you think he's really Jewish? And I'm like, if I had to guess on like a pop quiz, I'd say no, but he could be. I don't know. Probably not though. But like that was the funniest thing to me because like I'm not gonna be specific, but some people got real mad at me with like that and Kanye, and they were like, they're saying that they're Jews, and I'm like, yeah, I heard that. they're like, and I'm like, I don't know. I think it's kind of funny. They're like, do you think they are? I was like, not specifically. No, I don't. Like, what about the documentary? I was like, yeah, I didn't watch it. It's like $30. I'm not paying $30 to watch some Black Jewish documentary. I got better things to do. But like, just the fact that people got so mad. Like, to me, it's like if he said he was Italian, I would have thought it's funnier. If he's like, I'm Polish, and you're like, probably not. He's probably not Polish, but I don't know. He could be. I've never seen his genetic test. It's like if you're 2% Black and you just start dropping the N bomb, people are like, why? You're like, look at my 23andMe. You're like, I'm down. And they're like, 2% is not a lot, but when am I going to have a flat Earth debate anomaly? I'm not well versed enough on the flatty patty side, and I'm not well versed enough on the globe side. I'm not a glober. I'm not a glober Teixeira. That's a pun for UFC fans, but yeah, I'm not a big globy guy. I'm more flatty patty than globy, but I'm not well versed in it enough to really know the talking points. So I just don't care. Like if it's a globe, it's a globe. If it's a dome, it's a dome. I haven't like gone down the rabbit hole enough to really, believe in the talking points enough to make it my thing. But I wish people luck, and I think it's funny and interesting. But someone said melanated people are the real Semites. I'm just saying. I don't know. There's a debate about who were Egyptians. Were Egyptians Black or white? Like, a lot of Black people say we was kings. We built Egypt. And then, some people are like, look at the DNA test. It was white people. I don't know. You guys could fight over it on Instagram. I don't really care. I didn't build Egypt. So, I love my ancestors and stuff, but like, I'm also trying to make a legacy for myself, to like, boost it up for my people. I'm not just going to be like, I built the pyramids 10,000 years ago. It's like, what if you're wrong and you didn't do shit in your life also? It's like, I'm not trying to be rude, but people will be like, we was kings. And you're like, maybe, maybe not, maybe. And it's like, well, white people did this. Okay, what did you do though? Like, okay, white people did that 500 years ago, and now they're getting cucked in every country, and, birth rates are down and they're losing everything, and Christians have lost everything but Russia, and now the liberal gay world order is trying to make them gay. And like, what are you doing though? Like, I'm not denying certain things, but I'm not the type of person like lean on my ancestors and be like, look what they did. Like, even if your great grandfather like invented the hammer, that's awesome, but like, you didn't invent the hammer. You know what I'm saying? So if your people did all these things, like, you didn't do it, which is fine. But like, your job, if they did cool shit, then that means you should be doing cool shit now, because you have that genetics in you, But I feel like sometimes people, Black and white, they kind of like point to things and they're like, look what I did. And I'm like, you did not do that. You definitely didn't do that. But someone of your race might have done it, maybe, but maybe not though. I don't know. So I get where people are coming from, but it's like, I remember I debated somebody and they were like, would you care if I took the gold sandals from this like museum? And I was like, I mean, I don't own the museum. Like, what do you think I care about, like, what you think about gold sandals in a museum? Like, I don't know. Sometimes people think just because you're white that like you are all white people of all time. They're like, what do you think about Bill Gates? It's like, yeah, that's not how white people operate. They don't just like all people just because they're white, but whatever, everyone thinks that way sometimes. It's kind of like funny to me. I try to find the comedy in it, because if you can't find the comedy in it, everything could be kind of depressing, So I'm not always funny on my show. Sometimes I'm really funny. Sometimes I'm serious. For most of my career, I was super serious. But if I'm going to do this for 8 years, I can't just be serious the whole time. Because to be honest, I was never really serious in my life. Like, I did these serious newscasts because I'm trying to do the news. But I don't know. I've always been kind of like funny, in my opinion. I was like kind of a class clown in school. School was boring. I was like, someone's got to make a joke. This is like, what are we just going to sit here for 8 hours and learn about rocks and plus and minus signs? Like, somebody's got to do something funny. I would get suspended a lot or get like detentions, because it would always be for like a comical reason. Like, I was always calculating in my head. I was like, yeah, I might get a detention for this, but is it funny enough to do that, to have to go after school for like, and then if I decided it was, I'd just go for it. And, I think people liked it. They were like, oh, that was fun. So maybe it wasn't good for like their learning, but whatever. We did enough of that in school. But yeah, I mean, if you don't find humor in some of this stuff, you're just going to be miserable. Like, imagine, here's what I'll say, okay? Race conflicts, they exist. They're real. Whether you're black or white or whatever, I don't care. Purple. People are like, I don't care if you're purple, blue. It's like, who's purple? Nobody's purple. You're just saying every race to try to be politically black, white, yellow, purple. It's like, are you talking to the Hamburglar from, or whatever the guy's name is? Who's the purple guy? Grimace, the guy that's shaped like a butt plug from McDonald's, the Grimace guy. Like, he's the only purple guy out here. So you're not, but anyway, it's like, I don't care who you are. There's things happening. But if you're having your racial battles over the WNBA, like, I get it. I get what's going on. I get people want to stand up for the whitey, you know what I'm saying? For Caitlin Clark, she's crushing. She's white. You got some black lesbians pissed off or whatever. It's like, I get it. But at the same time, like, if you're having your race battles in this world through WNBA players, man up and have your race battles through a different platform. That's my only opinion on that. I think it's funny. I can't help it. I just think it's funny watching grown men fight about race through Caitlin Clark and like Angela Reese. I think it's funny. Is it funny? No. Do I think it's funny? Yes. Because also a lot of these people that are having these race battles through Caitlin Clark and Angela Reese, there's a lot of other race shit going on that a lot of people haven't been talking about, but it's like, now I'm pissed off. You could have my country. You could have the South. You could have Europe. You could flood us with refugees, but if you touch Caitlin Clark, this WNBA league that I didn't give a shit about 5 months ago, that's where I draw the line. It's like, it is, because that's funny. Is that not funny? Like, I don't know. What do you think? It's like, even Angela Reese, like, she's good for the league. Like, oh, but she said this and she thinks she's as important as Caitlin Clark. She's not. But without her there, like, everyone needs a hero and a villain. And I'm not saying she's the villain necessarily, but to some people she is, and vice versa. So, like, as much as people don't like what's going on, this wouldn't be popular. Like, Caitlin Clark would have never been as popular without Angela Reese, and vice versa. They both kind of need each other. So I don't care. It's like, it's a good duo. Like, and if there was no beef, there'd be nothing interesting. Like, it started with the ring finger thing. And then people were like, oh, that's ghetto. And it's like, it actually like wasn't ghetto. There is some ghetto shit going on in this world, obviously. But like what Angela Reese did, like she mocked her. There's nothing like ghetto about mocking somebody. It's just what you do in sports. Either you talk shit or you don't. It's not like a racial thing. But anyway, it's like people try to make that about race 3 years ago, and it wasn't. And then there are people who are making it about race, and then somebody pushes her, and then somebody says it's because she's white. I don't know. I think it's all kind of fun, but I'm not the average person. And I think if everyone just leaned into it and didn't care, then it would all go away. But what you have is like liberals and certain people in the black community that like have double standards. And then the only thing Republicans can do and white people can do is they can be like, oh, but if it were reversed, then that. It's like, yes, true. But why? Like, why are you allowing that to be the case? Like, and then it's like, so you're going to do the wrong thing because they did the wrong thing and that's going to make it right. So it's like, whatever. I want to see these lesbians fight each other. No, I'm just kidding. I like a good lesbian WNBA racial conflict, to get the summer of love heating up. With no lesbian black white WNBA conflict, how are we going to have our every 4-year election riot? Because it's been like 2016, 2020. If they don't do one this year, it's almost like they don't even care about us anymore. It's like if the elites don't stage a racial conflict, if they don't stage a riot in 2024, it's like, hello, elites, have you forgot about us? What, you just looking at Ukraine and Palestine and Israel now? You don't even care about the American election anymore? You almost feel like, you want attention from the elites again. I'm just kidding, but it's kind of funny. The NBA fell off. Yeah, the NBA, I don't know. They travel too much, and I don't know. They let a woman announce the game. They're like, it's the first ever woman announcer. It's just like, ugh. I'm just kidding, but she's okay. She's like, yeah, look at that play. I'm making history. You're like, I'd rather watch Caitlin Clark have a racial beef than listen to this lady talk about Kyrie Irving. I'm disgusted. I'm just kidding, but I don't know. Anyway, where were we? Someone said we could all make it disappear if we pull together as a team. Yeah, and the Pistons could have been good this year if they pulled it together as a team, but they didn't. They just got blown out 90% of the game. So, yeah, no, I agree. Like, America could be awesome if everyone came together, but it's just not happening. So we got to deal with whatever the hell is happening. But anyway, I'm going to head out in like 3 minutes. I'm going to try to keep this under 2 hours. That seems smart. Appreciate you guys. God bless you. God bless your family. God bless America. God bless the world. Hopefully you have fun today. I did. Thank you for the super chats. Thanks for watching. Thanks for anybody who shares. Thanks for anybody who really does anything. I appreciate you. And check out at the end, dreamrare.com. The t-shirts for summer, they're limited. I'm not going to look right now, but I think the Freedom Over Tyranny shirts, they're under 16, I think. And all the t-shirts are pretty low. The long sleeves are low. If you want them for the fall or winter, they're going to be sold out. And once I sell out of everything, we're getting closer and closer. I'm going to try to really crush with my shop. That's one of my goals. But obviously, if I keep talking about it and don't do it, it doesn't matter. But I'm trying to do something new once I sell everything out. But it's difficult. I don't know. I'm not a merchandise expert, so it's been a blessing so far that I've been able to do so well with the shop. But I want to take it to the next level. I think I have some good ideas. But yeah, it's not the easiest thing to do. But it's not the hardest thing to do. It's whatever. Let's see. Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate the compliments. Jesse said, can we talk about how airports suck now and TSA are all foreigners treating us like total crap, like we are president of every walkthrough? I don't know. It's funny, but the end was kind of funny. The airport, the country in general, service is going down, quality is going down. I do notice that about TSA is I don't know if they're foreigners or not, probably not, but in general, maybe they were born in a foreign country, maybe not. But anyway, they always do treat you like shit, 80% of the time. Keep it moving, get the fuck out of here, take your shoes off, bitch. You're like, dude, chill chill out a little bit, my guy. I'm listening, I get it. But yeah, they do they don't seem pumped to have you there sometimes at shitty airports. So I mean, make America great again would be good airports, better plane stuff. That would be fun. We'll see if Trump can do it. Probably not. He'll be like, listen, my fellow patriots, I got in, and now we're going to move a foreign embassy and make America great again. Okay. And then we'll print the money. Okay. And I just hired the swamp. Okay. I hired the swamp, and now they're persecuting me. I can't believe Mitt Romney doesn't like me after I endorsed him. Mitch McConnell, I endorsed him. What is he doing? Oh my gosh, donate money. I'm being persecuted. What happened? And then the airports are going to be shitty in 4 years, and people are going to be like, you know what we need? We need Trump again. And I'll be like, bro, he's 85 years old. He's 85. And people are going to be like, but he's the only one who could beat up the deep state and fix the airports. But it's he hasn't fixed the airports. What are you talking about? He's like, but because he's being persecuted. You're like, all right. It's like a Tom and Jerry goofy loop where I'm like, okay, listen, we're really going to crush Mitch McConnell. And, if I just keep making jokes about people, nobody will notice that I'm not really doing that much, but I can, but I can't, but I can, but I can't. I can't do it. I can't do it because I get strong-armed by the deep state, but I'm running on the platform of beating them, even though I say I can't, but I can. But now we're going to make a joke about Adam Schiff's little pencil neck, because if I make a pencil neck joke, everybody will laugh and poop their pants and vote for me. Look at Adam Schiff. He's got a big head and his neck looks like a pencil. Have you ever been in school and sharpened a pencil? It reminds you of Adam Schiff's pencil neck, doesn't it? And everyone's like, oh, did you see him call Adam Schiff a pencil neck for the 5,000th time? You know what's fucked up about me making fun of that? Excuse my language, but too late. I actually have an Adam Schiff pencil neck shirt that I bought from Trump's website because I did actually think it was funny. So I have a shirt that I used to wear to some of the lockdown protests or whatever. That was Trump's it was Adam pencil neck Schiff, and it's got him with a pencil neck. So as much as I'm making fun of it, it was funny, and I was like, I do want a pencil neck shirt. It's fashionable for this time of year. wear it in California. It's pretty funny. But anyway, appreciate you guys. God bless you. Check out dreamrare.com for merch if you want to support and look sleek. And, you know, the God bless hats, the God is great sweatshirts. You're going to get more compliments in that than any other clothes that you wear. And if you don't, I don't guarantee that, because, you know, I don't want to get sued by someone like, I didn't technically get more compliments in that shirt. It's like, well, whose fault is that? I'm sorry. You might, you know, allegedly. It happens to me. I get the most compliments in it. But yeah, dreamrare.com. Check it out. Appreciate you.
Hey, what's going on, my friends? Just a few ways to stay in touch and support if you'd like to. The first way is dreamrare.com. We have blue beanies, black beanies, pink hats, other colored hats, freedom versus tyranny shirts, stay blessed long sleeve, God is great long sleeve, and lots of more cool items coming soon. Dreamrare.com. Check out the shop